my name is Jade with Siouxland Libraries and welcome to the Book Report. Today we'll be talking about the best books of 2020 I took from lists of Publisher Weekly and School Library Journal, and these are some of my absolute favorites that were on that list. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is called Ways to Make Sunshine by Renee Watson. This one is the Beverly Cleary reimagined story. If you know that, maybe your parents know it. It's a classic from long ago and it's still well loved. And this follows a little girl named Ryan Hart, and her name means king and she owns it. Everybody always teases her, telling her she has a boy's name, but she says, you know what? This is my name and this is what I am. And recently her father has lost her job and she's having to move into a new house after he gets a new one. And she's just having all of these family changes and she's trying to make new friends, but she's not going to let any of that tear her down because she's Ryan Hart and her name means king. So follow her along in this story. There's definitely more to come. This one's an awesome read and it's a take on a classic, so feel free to ask your parents what they think of it. The next one I'm going to talk to you about is a historical fiction. This is a series as well, but it's a different type of series, and this one's called Alicia, Alonso Takes the Stage. So this is based on an actual person whose name is Alicia Alonso, and she's an amazing ballerina dancer who is in New York. Over the years, she learned ballet, she learned Spanish and Cuban dance styles before she eventually started losing her sight. How this is a historical fiction is that it's not exactly her life story, but it does recount it to a degree. But this awesome book just is filled with amazing illustrations and kind of dances their way through her life. And it's a really quick read, so you could definitely blow through it in one night. The third book I'm going to talk to you about is called The Brave by James Bird. Now this one is about a boy who has a rare OCD disorder. His name is Colin. He counts the number of letters in a word when it's spoken to him, and he recounts it back to you. Now this is getting him in trouble at school, and his dad has decided he needs to go live with his mom for a while. His mom is on an Indian reservation, and he's never been immersed in their culture before. So when he moves to Minnesota to be with her, he's fascinated by the vast array of cultural and identity things that just kind of are all around him. And he makes a friend there. Her name is Arita, and she's actually really sick. And since she's making him discover himself, he's decided he wants to help her as well. And it's an amazing coming-of-age story. It's a really great read, honestly, for all ages. The fourth book I'm going to talk to you about is called Our Friend Hedgehog, The Story of Us by Lauren Castillo. Now this one's kind of an early chapter, so if you want to read it with a younger sibling or if you just want to read it before you go to bed, that's an awesome idea. This one follows the story of two friends named Hedgehog and Muddy, and one day a storm sweeps through and Muddy, who is not a great swimmer, gets swept away. And it is up to Hedgehog to go find her. And along the way, Hedgehog meets all sorts of new friends who have all sorts of different personalities to help find where she's at. And another cool quirk about this story is that every chapter is about a different animal, and there's a person following them along taking Polaroid pictures. So it's awesome illustrations. I think you'll love it. I'll show you real quick. So in the introduction here, you can see from the start, it's just beautiful and bright and bold. And then the last book that I'm going to tell you about is called When You Trap a Tiger. And this one is by Tay Keller. This one is a magical realism story. So if you haven't heard of magical realism before, it's kind of a magical story, but it's also very realistic. So it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a very fantasy-based book as well. This little girl, her name is Lily. Her grandma, also called her Halmoni, is very sick, and she's recently learned that she has trapped a tiger. Now, in their folklore, which is Korean folklore, tigers are very powerful, and they used to walk amongst the stars. And her alimony trapped one long ago, and she's now bargaining with the tiger to try to save her life. Lily will do anything for her family, so when she comes across this tiger that's trapped in her basement, she will do anything, and that means collecting the stars.